Okay, so we're going to start off the Pro Motocross DLC at Fox Raceway. Are you excited? Because you shouldn't be, because this Pro Motocross DLC launched just like the game, a buggy mess. We're off track, but we're in the middle of, and we're behind the starting gate. Well, let's reset here. And we're still behind the starting gate. Maybe we can go to the right here, right around. Nope, still behind the starting gate. There's a hole in the gate over here. Doesn't really surprise me. So that's Fox Raceway for you. Now we're off to Hangtown. We're doing a lap on every track in the Pro Motocross DLC. I'm not going to talk the whole time because this is like a 24-minute video, but there is a giveaway like we said on the intro. So all of this stuff is time-stamped, every track, the giveaway, and things of that nature. I'm going to spend a couple minutes talking to you. I am going to talk on a few specific tracks because those are tracks that I've raced on, whether that was an amateur qualifier, regional, GNCC. I've been to a few of these tracks. There's a few things I like, a few things I don't. But I want to start off with the fact that this is by far the best part of the game. I think everything else gets like a failing or just barely passing grade, and this gets like a B or B plus if you're just doing some like grammar school grading. The thing that I find funny about this is that you can buy the standalone Pro Motocross DLC for $20. The season pass is $25. Why don't you just add all this stuff together, charge $60 for the game, like a normally fledged $60 game, and I'm not going to think it's nearly as egregious, greedy, and dumb. Because we live in a time where companies are just trying to drag every single penny out of you in the gaming world, and when you're just shoving DLC down my throat and you're not actually working on the main game, I think you suck. And so Rainbow Studios, THQ Nordic, for the love of Christ, make this a full-fledged game and just release it that way. Don't be, put a game out that you haven't actually worked on the core content for months on end because you're working on a DLC that comes out looking like Fox Raceway, for the love of Christ. Come on. Now, I did spend a lot of time playing Supercross 5 last night on the Steam Deck, and what I realized was I still probably prefer the physics of Supercross over this, honestly. But this is way... the tracks and the racing and everything are way better on the Pro Motocross side than the standard part of this game. A couple things that I think are really wrong with it is the scale. So they scaled it down too far. This feels like MXGP 2021 scaling. It's really skinny, and that's just not how things are, and we'll talk more about that on the tracks that I've been on before, because I haven't been to Hangtown, I haven't been to Fox Raceway. So what we're going to do now, I'm just going to let the next couple laps finish, and when we get to High Point, we'll start talking again. Okay, psych. So we're starting off here at Red Bud. I've raced here one time, and I can promise you that this track is much wider than it currently looks. One thing that they did actually do a pretty good job on is making it fairly bumpy out of the gate. It's not very bumpy at the start of the day, but as you go on, it does get pretty rough. And since their track deformation on this game is that high school project we talked about, starting the tracks out a little bit bumpier, rougher, makes it a lot better transition. And actually, one of the big reasons they probably do it that way is because their deformation isn't the best, so they know if they start the tracks out that way, it makes it a lot easier to get the end result that they're looking for. I think that's pretty important to think about as we're going through this, but this track is pretty awesome. It is extremely wide, extremely fast, gets extremely rough. The only issue that I have with it is the scaling on exactly how wide it is. I don't think it needs to be monumentally wider than it is, just a little bit wider than it is. I prefer it this way over being like all out wide. So we're kind of picking between hairs here, and I understand that. But it is definitely wider than it looks on the game. But as we're moving through here, this is actually one of the funnest ones on the Pro Motocross DLC, I think, personally. You get your whips down, get your bikes all kitted. It's a really fun track. The second best jump in the game, in my opinion, including the DLC, is Laraco's Leap here in just a second. So I genuinely like this track. I think they did a fairly good job on it. The sand rollers over there don't look like sand. I'm not quite sure why they skipped that all out, but I sort of kind of screwed this up. But we still make it, kind of. I did not jump Laraco's Leap when I was there. But, okay, so we're going to move on to High Point now. Okay, so now we're going to go to High Point. We were just here for the Pro National. I've ran several regionals, several qualifiers, 4 or 5 different GNCCs. I know the dirt, I understand it well, and the scaling, and this one's a little bit rougher than the others. I don't know if it's a glitch or if they mean for this whole like dust sort of kind of amateur looks like you're kicking up dirt all the time, but when you're playing an actual race or you know, have a full class of AI, it's just a dusty, it looks big dumb, really big dumb. But a few things they did nice on this track is this roller section, jumping into the rollers. I think they did a pretty good job of that. The scale, everything looks nice. The elevation is the big issue with this track for me. When you are there watching, it looks like they are going up and down the side of just these gigantic hills. When you are on the bike yourself, it looks like you're going up and down the side of mountains. So I don't think that was really well done. Pretty much there's only a couple times that I think elevation was done right in the DLC. This is the funnest jump in the entire game. This is another reason I don't really like preloading, because big jumps, you just fly off the side of the track and die, or you underjump the living crap out of it because you don't use it. But here's another part of the elevation is weird. This whole last section of the track, this is a gigantic downhill sweeper. Like, it's huge down, and it just doesn't look that way. And here's some physics for you. I'm Alex Hodges. This section as well, this is a huge downhill drop that sweeps up a very large elevation. None of this actually looks like this in real life. This is a massive uphill. This section, it's pretty decent actually, downhill wise. It just looks and needs to be a little bit steeper in my opinion. I do like the pre-made ruts and everything, so I can live with it the way it is. It's better than the stock content. So we're gonna go ahead and move on from here. Okay, so we only have a couple more of these. Budds Creek is the one that I probably know the best or the second best. I actually was airlifted out of here, kind of ended my whole motocross thing. One of the big reasons I went over and just started running GNCCs. But they really have the elevation jacked up here. Like, that section right there is so steep and just deep into a ravine. These uphills and downhills are way, way steeper than they seem in the game. Unadilla is one of the tracks that I haven't been to, but it is one of the tracks where I feel like they did the absolute best with the elevation with some of the uphills and downhills. Because when you're on the bike, some of these places, they really feel like you're going up and down mountains. Comparatively than these just like this hill right here we're about to go down. It doesn't even look like a real downhill, but you are completely on the brakes going down this thing when you're actually there. So that's my only downside really to the Pro Motocross DLC across all of these tracks, is the elevation issue, it not being as wide. This is a track that is not super wide, so I kind of thought the scaling here was almost perfect. A lot of this was very kind of only two bikes the whole way around off camber. Had that basically this entire way through the track. So I thought this track was well done minus the elevation. I thought the scaling was kind of perfect, but it kind of killed me. The third best jump in the Pro Motocross DLC is coming up here in just a second. I thought they did really well on the jumps for the most part. They kill me with the scaling in some situations and then with the elevation, because especially even now that I think about it, looking back on Morocco's Leap, when you jump that thing, even when you're not going for the whole thing, you really do feel like you're jumping 4 stories high. This jump down this hill, like if you jumped that far, you would die in real life. So, but we're gonna go ahead and move on to the last one and then wrap this whole thing up. There is no better dirt in the world, in my opinion, than at Ironman. It is awesome. This track is awesome. The GNCC is awesome. I was having an awesome regional qualifier weekend and blew up my factory edition KTM here one year. The track is amazing. The dirt is amazing. The atmosphere is great. The scaling of this track is broken. Very broken. It is way wider. You can fit, it feels like 10 bikes wide sometimes in a lot of places. And one thing that I haven't talked about that I think they did amazing here and amazing at Unadilla and at Budds Creek too, is the surrounding, the habitat behind it, the farmland back there off of the track. They did a really good job of the atmosphere altogether. Those 2 jumps right there are 2 of the gnarliest jumps in the entire world. And honestly, if you put all of this together, it's not half-baked. The Pro Motocross DLC is pretty good. It's by far the best part of the game. I just wish that it wasn't just like a separate DLC. I wish it was the main part of the game. Get rid of all this unnecessary stuff that we don't need. Make a Pro Motocross game, or make this part of the main game, because it's by far the best part. Don't sell me a $40 really crappy pizza. Sell me a $60 fantastic, full of really good content pizza. But with that being said, we're going to go ahead and let this lap finish, and we're going to wrap this thing up with a giveaway, and we'll see you guys at the end. Okay, so slight change of plans here. I was going to get out of the gameplay, back behind the green screen, but then I left my camera somewhere. So we didn't want to not end up ever publishing this video, so we figured we would just round everything up over the little bit of gameplay that we had left. And we're doing a giveaway. So we're going to give away the base copy of this game, whether you do it on PlayStation, Xbox, Steam, or if you already have the game and you just want the value of the standard game in your Steam wallet. So that's $40 US. We're going to do that giveaway here on the channel. So basically the way to enter is to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and comment down below. We're going to tag this on Instagram as well, so you can follow us there. And for the most part, I feel like the Pro Motocross DLC is definitely worth checking out. Let me know what you guys thought of this video in the comment section down below, and we will see you in the next one.